y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do another video where I use a rental team live in person and you can kind of see how I would play it in real life, as well as doing a little bit of a breakdown of what the team looks like, why I built it the way I did, as well as a rental code for you to play it for yourself. So stick around. Okay, so in this case, we are leading Wishiwashi Rillaboom instead of Wishiwashi Comfy, and the reason for that is because I'm kind of expecting a Regigigas plus Whimsicott lead. That Whimsicott can use Worry Seed to remove Regigigas' slow start ability, and I really don't want that to happen. So we can use Rillaboom to fake out the Whimsicott and Wishiwashi to kill it on turn 1 before it gets a chance to Worry Seed the Regigigas. Okay, so in this case, we're actually not seeing Gigas, but I still really don't want that Wishiwashi to get the chance to do anything. So instead of targeting down the Torkoal, we are still going to fake out the Whimsicott plus kill it with the Wishiwashi, and then we won't have to worry about Whimsicott messing with us in any way with its priority prankster moves. Plus, if we leave the Torkoal alone, there's a good chance that it will just kind of kill our Rillaboom, which would actually be great for us because it would get us a free switch into Comfy for turn 2, so that we can go ahead and activate our weakness policy then. No Dynamax from them. Protect on Torkoal. This is a perfect turn 1, I'd say, honestly. Whimsicott might actually be going for a Trick Room here, but it's not going to get it off because it's not nearly bulky enough for that, and we've just broken its Focus Sash with Fake Out. Plus, the extra bonus is that we've removed the Sun, so now turn 2 we have the option to go for a Max Geyser without it doing half damage. Okay, interesting. I think now would be a good time to Geyser Torkoal, take it off the field, and let's go, can't go for a knockoff because it's probably running weakness policy, and we'll proc weakness policy before we do anything else. I think actually now, instead of attacking with Rillaboom, I'm going to go for a hard switch into Comfy here. Okay. Probably should have attacked the Necrozma, but you know what? A Max Geyser should still take this Charizard out, so not worried at all. Dragon Dance, interesting. Yeah, Charizard's out. Okay, so next turn, they're probably going to Dynamax their Necrozma. They still have Torkoal on the field, which Torkoal does learn Yawn. We really don't want to let that Torkoal run around messing stuff up. So what I kind of expect to happen here, Necrozma might go for a Dragon Dance, or it could go just Dynamax, Steel Spike into Comfy, take it out, plus get a defense boost. So what I'm going to do here, I am going to take the Torkoal out. We're going to go ahead and proc our Dynamax. We're going to go ahead and activate our weakness policy now. Hopefully the Max Geyser should take it out even in the sun. I do kind of expect it to with our weakness policy activated, but we really don't want that Torkoal yawning. Like, that's the biggest thing. Okay, so there's the Dynamax from Necrozma, as I kind of expected. There's our weakness policy. Max Quake. Okay, so I think it may have guessed that I'm a special Wishiwashi. But, you know, that didn't do a lot of damage to Comfy. Hopefully this still kills the Torkoal. Yes, okay. And we're now in rain, and there's no real way for them to undo the rain. So that's good for us. And he has to, because he's Dynamax, he has to choose one of us to target, right? He doesn't have access to any spread moves, which means he has to decide, does he want to take Comfy off the field so that Comfy can't keep supporting my Wishiwashi, or does he want to take out the Wishiwashi because with my weakness policy activated, I'm going to be doing a lot of damage. So we're going to stay away from Mudshot. It's not particularly strong, and that Necrozma almost definitely has weakness policy on it, and we do not want to activate its weakness policy. So we're going to go with a 1 times effective move, but we are going to use Helping Hand so that it can do more damage. Plus, we're in the rain, so it'll be doubled for that as well. And with Stab, it'll do more damage than Mudshot would have anyway. Okay, so there's the Max Steel Spike into the Comfy. So Comfy's off the field, but that's okay. It did its job. It activated our weakness policy, and it stuck around for an extra turn to help control our damage output. But we missed the Hydro Pump. Oh, God, that's rough. Okay, I'm going to hold off on Rillaboom and put Zacian out instead. Reason being, I want to be able to have that fake out pressure after its last turn of Dynamax, which this is its last turn of Dynamax. So here we go. So we're going to Hydro Pump again here, and then we're going to use Sacred Sword, which if we see here, will ignore the defense boost that Necrozma gave itself through Max Steel Spike. Probably should have protected because it was its last turn of Dynamax. Wishiwashi lives. I think that might be more than 1/4 HP, so we might be able to maintain our schooling after this turn. I'd have to double check. But that Hydro Pump did big damage. And it's a good thing we didn't protect on Zacian because he targeted down the Wishiwashi anyway. Okay, we should be more than 1/4 HP here, which means we should be able to hold on to our schooling for another turn, and we do. So we're just going to click Hydro Pump again. We're going to click Sacred Sword again. There we go, and it does way more damage this turn because he's no longer Dynamaxed. Going for an Earthquake now that he has access to spread moves, but Zacian lives. Whew, okay. We should have this in the bag because now we have Rillaboom here. So we can click Fake Out. Click Fake Out. Excuse me. We can click Fake Out plus Sacred Sword. We may not even need the Sacred Sword. Yes, we do. Doesn't matter. We win. So this kind of shows you that Wishiwashi, especially once you activate that weakness policy, it's so strong. It can OHKO most non-Dynamax Pokemon with its variety of spread moves. And on top of that, it's very bulky. So it can survive most neutral hits. There are a few super effective hits that can OHKO it, but they are few and far between for sure. And so because of that bulkiness, it doesn't really matter that Wishiwashi is slow, right? We don't even have to set up Trick Room. We can have a very fast rest of our team so that our lack of speed control around Wishiwashi is less of an issue because of that bulkiness and that support. Okay, so this very much looks like a Trick Room team, which is actually good for me because Wishiwashi is incredibly slow. I see no reason not to lead Wishiwashi. None of these Pokemon are super effective against it. And quite a few of them are actually weak to some of my coverage moves. So let's just lead Wishiwashi Comfy and see how far we get. I think also Rillaboom Fake Out Pressure could be super helpful here, as well as the Priority Grassy Glide in case they do get Trick Room up. And of course we have to have Zacian in the back. Okay, so this does look like Cresselia. Stack Attack is probably going to protect. Cresselia is probably going to try to set up Trick Room. I don't actually know if I can OHKO Cresselia here, but I would like to try. So let's just see. We'll also get to set the rain, so that'll be super great. Let's activate our weakness policy. Go with our strongest move, which would be Max Geyser, and see what we can do. Okay, so there's our... Actually, no Protect from Stack Attack, which is interesting. I guess they figure I'm going to target down Cresselia anyway. Okay. Ironhead onto Comfy, that's fine, because we got what we wanted. We got our weakness policy. Ah, and we can't quite Oko Cresselia. That's unfortunate. That was so close, though. That was so close. Well, now we know that we can't Oko Cresselia. I think we're actually going to... Let's go ahead and take down Stakataka first. It's 4 times weak to ground, so let's go ahead and Quake the Stakataka, take it down. It's probably going to Dynamax now that Trick Room is up. So I might just Helping Hand the Wishiwashi. I think Comfy goes down this turn, so... Oh, no Dynamax. Okay. Wishiwashi is the slowest thing on the field, so the Stakataka is not built for Trick Room. It's not a min-speed Stakataka, because it should underspeed Wishiwashi. So it either has been built incorrectly or for some other speed tier. Okay. We expected to lose Comfy this turn. Okay, Cresselia uses Light Screen. Let's bring out Rillaboom now, because I want to be able to fake out that Cresselia before it gets any healing up. Because Cresselia does no Recover, I believe. And Wishiwashi underspeed Stakataka, so we can Quake the Stakataka, get an extra special defense boost, then fake out the Cresselia, and this should be a good turn for us. Not quite enough to kill it, but a Grassy Glide next turn should. So this is actually really good for us. They set Trick Room, and because their Stakataka is not min speed like it should be, our Wishiwashi is actually the slowest thing on the field. So what they've actually done is just put my Wishiwashi in a stronger position to win. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we know Wishiwashi is the slowest thing on the field, so I'm actually going to go for an Ice Beam here just because it will never miss, whereas all these other moves have a chance to miss. So I see Ice Beam is 100% accurate, so we're going to Ice Beam the Cresselia, take it down before it gets a chance to do any healing, and then we're going to use our priority Grassy Glide to take this Milotic down. Well, they're going to Dynamax the Milotic, so it might not kill. It's a very bulky Milotic. Kind of expected it to do a little more damage than that. Okay, Max Hailstorm, but our Rillaboom is Assault Vested, so it does barely any damage whatsoever. The only downside here is now our Wishiwashi doesn't have access to Rain and to boost its Hydro Pumps and its Muddy Waters. This team didn't have a restricted on it. Why? Why does this team not have a restricted? Okay, I'm going to go with an Ice Beam on the Sylveon because Sylveon is not known for being particularly bulky. I kind of expect this to kill. And I don't want to risk missing by using Hydro Pump. Ah, baby doll eyes. That's a little unfortunate. It's okay. We're really just chipping away. This Milotic is not a threat. It's really not scary at all. So we're just kind of chipping it away and taking down all of the non-Dynamax Pokemon that are a little easier to take down in one hit. While we wait for it to leave Dynamax. Oh, it's such a bulky Sylveon, but we froze it! So, you know, we guessed wrong on what that Sylveon would look like, but we froze it. So. So just a reminder, in Generation 8, Freeze has a 20% chance of you thawing every turn. So there's no cap on how long you can be frozen, but every single turn there's a 20% chance that you will thaw. So on average, it's expected to last 5 turns, right? 20% adds up to 100% by 5 turns. So you could expect it to last that long. But theoretically, it could last forever. Interesting move. This is his last turn of Dynamax, so I mean, next turn when he's not Dynamaxed, he's got less of a chance of surviving a Grassy Glide. He might just be trying to wait out the freeze turns, but it's not very likely. Yes! Okay, Hydro Pump did the job. So now we're in a great position, right? We didn't even have to bring out a restricted, which makes me feel a little bit better because this team didn't have a restricted on it. So I feel a little bit better that we didn't even need to use a restricted to beat it. We were able to beat it with all of our other Pokemon. Of course, something could happen. But I don't really expect it to. And now that the light screen is worn off, we'll do even more damage to this Milotic with our Wishiwashi. So we'll go for a Mud Shot here, plus Grassy Glide. Oh, and the battle's canceled, we win. So there you go, that's a good example of just, again, Wishiwashi is a monster stat-wise when it's in its schooling form, and so this team has mostly been built around keeping Wishiwashi in its schooling form as long as possible, right? Because once you've activated its weakness policy, its base attack is something like 240, I think, which is insane. That's crazy. It's like Darmanitan level. It's like at Galarian Darmanitan levels of base attacking or special attacking stats, right? Plus, on top of that, it's not a glass cannon like Darmanitan. It's very bulky. Its only downside is that it's kind of slow, but the bulk more than makes up for that. So Wishiwashi honestly was the star of this team, not the restricted. So I love that I was able to make this team work in a Series 11 environment, especially because the star of the team is not the restricted. We kind of just threw Zacian on because it could do a good job of cleaning up from the back. Okay, so this is the Wishiwashi team that I built for Series 11. Rental code is right over here if you want to play it yourself. And as I mentioned, the team is built around Wishiwashi. So Wishiwashi is an interesting Pokemon. Its ability schooling doubles all of its stats except for speed when it has more than 1/4 HP. So it's really bulky. It's actually surprisingly strong. And so long as you can keep its health up, it can do a lot of damage and really surprise opposing teams to just wipe them off their feet. Now, we do have to support Wishiwashi in a couple of ways. So number one is Triage Comfy. So let's say turn 1, I lead Wishiwashi plus Comfy. I Dynamax Wishiwashi, and then I use my Triage Giga Drain to proc Wishiwashi's weakness policy. That's a lead that's immune to Fake Out, which, as we know, is very popular in the Series 11 meta right now. So what I can do is I can activate Wishiwashi's weakness policy immediately on turn 1. Wishiwashi's not fast, but it's incredibly bulky, so it probably is going to survive any hits that come to him. And then on subsequent turns after that, Wishiwashi now has a +2 special attack, and because it's a special Wishiwashi and not a physical Wishiwashi, it's immune to Intimidate. So because Wishiwashi has equal attack and special attack stats, opposing teams can actually be confused sometimes initially about whether Wishiwashi is physical or special, especially because you can't really tell from Dynamax moves whether it's using a physical or a special move. So what we do is we activate that weakness policy, and then on subsequent turns we can use things like Floral Healing to help heal Wishiwashi up and keep it in that schooling ability. We can use Helping Hand to further increase the damage that Wishiwashi is doing, and we can even use moves like Aromatherapy to clear Wishiwashi of statuses like Poison, Paralyze, Burn, all things that will reduce Wishiwashi's ability to stay on the field and do as much damage as possible. Further supporting the Wishiwashi, we have, of course, an Amoonguss, whose Rage Powder can help redirect moves away from Wishiwashi, as well as Spore, which can help, put really big threats to sleep, giving Wishiwashi more time to take them off the field. Clear Smog can also help reduce opposing stat boosts, things like plus defense and plus special defense from Dynamax moves or even attack boost from weakness policy on the other side of the field. Now, we also need some coverage Pokemon that can help us take down threats that resist Wishiwashi's moves. So we have things like Rillaboom, who can help us deal with opposing Kyogres with its priority Grassy Glide. We also have our own Fake Out Pressure in Rillaboom as well, and because this Rillaboom has enough speed to be at 124 at level 50, there is no Incineroar that will outspeed this Rillaboom. So we can be safe faking out opposing Incineroar if we want to save our own Pokemon from being faked out on turn 1. Choice Scarf Darmanitan. As always, Darmanitan with Choice Scarf is a great counter to those flying type Pokemon that are really popular in the meta right now. With the return of Dynamax, Max Airstream is a really great way to get speed control. So there are a lot of flying type Pokemon in the meta right now. And Ice is super effective against flying types. So Darmanitan is a really great coverage for that. It also has some other coverage moves. Flare Blitz, U-Turn to help pivot out if there's not good coverage for Darmanitan on the field at that moment. Brick Break helps us deal with opposing Lapdog or even Grimmsnarl setting up screens. And our restricted here in this case is Zacian. Zacian is a great restricted Pokemon. It has good speed on its own, so it doesn't always need speed control in order to help it do a lot of damage. It has moves like Behemoth Blade, Sacred Sword ignores opponent defense boost, so that's also really great to help us do a lot of damage as well. So that was just a quick video showing off my new team centered all around Wishiwashi. I used a similar Wishiwashi team in Series 9 and had so much fun with it, so I'm glad that I could make a version of the team viable for Series 11, so you can hopefully have some fun with it as well. Leave a comment down below to give me any feedback or things you think I missed, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more like it. I'll see y'all later. Bye!